Yes, 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 yes. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. A week, actually 2 weeks after Easter almost. April 12th, 2024. Hope everybody's doing well. We're going to be talking about inventory, kind of a recap of quarter number one in the villages. That way you can make an educated decision whether it's a good time to sell or buy. I never want to be that realtor that's going to say it's the best time to buy, it's the best time to sell, and it doesn't matter what's happening. It's always great, right? Like that's not who I am. But I'm not going to be pessimistic either. I'll give you just kind of the fair view as to what's going on in the villages market. On the MLS side, I'm Glenn Stein, broker, owner, realty executives in the villages, located on 466 across from Laurel Manor, next to the Hampton Inn. We're on the second floor. If you ever want to stop in and say hi, please do. I know occasionally folks do that. That would be great. But let's jump into it. 425 properties on the market right now. That's a big jump. 2 weeks ago, even 10 days ago, we were just under 400. So, right after people left for just after Easter, a lot of the renters left. We have seen a slowdown the last couple of weeks. It's gotten a little bit warmer. Weather is beautiful, but it's gotten warmer and it's slowed down a little bit for sure. What I am anticipating is probably a little bit more of a slowdown, and then it's going to pick back up because what we know is usually by May, we get even more traffic, not necessarily at open house, but we get less traffic at open house, but more buyer traffic than what we're seeing now. So if that makes sense, a little bit more serious people in the market. And a little bit of perspective, I was actually looking at some of the history, literally September 2nd, 2022. So about 18 months ago, we had 220 homes on the market. So literally almost double the amount of homes since about 16, 17 months ago. So that's really interesting. I found that fascinating for sure. So a lot of that is related to season, but most of it is really related to interest rates going up over the last 18 months for sure. Jumping into it, as you can tell, 425 properties on the market as we speak. And I think what's important to know is that it seems to be increasing at the moment. So let's take a look at the stats, look at the trends for first quarter. Let's see what happened over this, first couple of months of 2024. And, obviously I do this live, so bear with me. We're going to be looking at the numbers together. We're going to look at the last 5 years. And, we just did the reports for the company. We print out a tangible report that you can get at any of our open houses. That'll be probably produced over the next probably 7 to 10 days. So you'll have those reports handy at open houses for sure. So let's take a look at average sales price. Let's just go right to it. Let's see what's happening average sales price according to month over the last 5 years. And we're going to look at what's happened over the last couple of months more specifically. And if you look at it, 391 was the average sales price in January. That is still higher than every single month except for January of last year. No big surprise. January of last year was probably one of the peak in pricing, even though we saw, you'll see in a minute what we saw as far as number of units. 415 in February, 415 in March. Very solid months. So pricing mostly holding steady. Let's look at median sales price, the median sales price that we saw. It's coming up. Make this a little bit larger so you can see it. More of this, less of me. So 375, 380, 360 first quarter of 2024. That is still holding steady. For people that are worried about pricing, they haven't gone up, right? Like I don't think we can say, yeah, prices have gone up, but they're holding steady over the last couple of years. I think that's a real fair assessment. Right. So not much appreciation over the last couple of years, but we saw the big appreciation from 21 to 22, obviously when things were going crazy. Let's look at months of inventory. So that tells us that's basically the rate that properties are actually selling according to the amount of homes that are on the market. And, in 21, 22, zero, like under a month, like super fast. And then obviously it slowed down tremendously. Fourth quarter of 2022, more of the same for 23. And we saw a little bit of a pickup in the rate of pace in March of this year. And we'll probably, if I had to guesstimate, we'll probably end up in very normal 2-3, and maybe there might be a month where there might be a 4 in here, right, somewhere, right? Actually, I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to give you a bonus. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories of things to avoid that I'm noticing with buyers and sellers right now. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then the next thing I want to show you is, we looked at median price, average price. We looked at inventory, and let's take a look at the rate of sales. We'll take a look at sales number of. Let's see what's happening. Once again, Villages MLS is what's happening. 176 properties sold in March of 2024. So it gives you an idea, right? Like this is almost the second most, really third most compared to 2022 is, just edged out this year, March of 2024. 21 was the outlier. If we start calculating the amount of homes in first quarter, January, February, March, you're looking at, and I'm doing this in my head, so just right around 420 homes first 3 months of this year. That definitely beats out. Look at the numbers in first quarter 23, big increase there, and pretty just under the 2022 numbers, under the 21 numbers for sure, but 2020 numbers beats out the 2020 numbers, edging it out a little bit, and definitely beats out the 19 numbers. So it's holding its own weight against 2022. Definitely beats 23. Got crushed by 21. But long story short, I think we're seeing a rebound recovery, certainly better than last year. Last year's first quarter was borderline, I wouldn't say disastrous, but darn close. If you start talking historically speaking, really low numbers, definitely lower than 19. Let's take a look, just out of curiosity. Let's look how low last year's numbers. Let's do a 10-year run at this, and let's see how that compares to prior years, prior to 2020. So let's see, 128. That looks very similar to 2017 numbers. 2017 was definitely better than 2016 by a little bit, but that tells you what last year looked like. It was like, woo, we haven't seen numbers like that in about 7-8 years. So nice rebound. 2024 more looks like 2018, 2019, 2020 numbers for sure. So yeah, we're seeing a nice rebound this year, definitely better than last year in a nutshell. So good. So is it a good time to buy? Is it a good time to sell? If you're motivated, it's always a good time to buy, and always a good time to sell if you're motivated. If you're not motivated, and a lot of people are just interested in buying something, they don't have to buy now, but they would like to. So if that being the case, right, you'd like to buy something, should you buy now? I would say, over the summer could be really interesting, because right now it's starting to, it's slowed down a little bit last 2 weeks. And when that happens, I think it's a better time to actually buy, because you're going to have less competition. So I think it makes a lot of sense to actually look at buying something right now. Be really interesting, because it's a little slower and you might get a little bit better deal. That's my point. On the listing side, is it a good time to sell? And I would say it's probably a little bit better in May. I would say maybe 30 days from now might be slightly better, maybe, because that's when things, I think, will pick up a little bit for a 30-day window. So it's like hot, cold, or more like warmish, cooler, warmish, cooler. I don't see like super hot market, or I don't see a cold market either. So pay attention to that for sure. A little bit of a bonus on what I'm noticing out on the street on situations that are happening. Make sure you get everything in writing, of course. Make sure that whatever you're agreeing to in a contract, in negotiations, that you're getting it in writing, and make sure you understand the language that's in there. Understand if your agent, if your realtor is going to be adding something in the addendum and the additional terms, make sure they're super clear and make sure you understand it and make sure that the other agent or seller can understand it as well, right? Understand the language. If you're not sure, don't assume. Ask your agent, or if you have to go see an attorney, go see an attorney. Sometimes that's the best thing if you need real clarity. So questions about anything in the market, you can text me. If you need help selling your home, call me 352-572-3796, 352-572-3796. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Take care.